We humans like to think we're the only intelligent species on the planet. But what if I told you that out there, in forests, oceans, and even in our own homes, there are animals that can solve puzzles, use tools, recognize faces, and even outsmart humans in certain situations? From escape artists to feathered masterminds, today we're counting down the top 10 smartest animals in the world. Some of them will surprise you. And some might even make you question if we're really the smartest species on the planet. Buckle up, because this is going to be one wild ride. Starting off our list at number 10, we have the rat. Now, before you scroll away thinking, ew, gross, hear me out. Rats are brilliant problem solvers. Scientists often use them in maze experiments, and these little guys can remember complex routes for weeks. But what's even crazier is their ability to show empathy. If a rat sees another rat trapped, it will often try to help, even if there's food nearby as a distraction. In one experiment, a rat had the choice to open a door and free a trapped friend, or take a tasty chocolate treat instead. What did it do? It freed its friend first, and then shared the chocolate. Now, if only all humans were that kind. At number 9, we're diving deep into the ocean to meet one of nature's greatest escape artists, the octopus. Octopuses don't just have 8 arms. They basically have 9 brains, one in their head and a mini brain in each arm. They can solve puzzles, open jars, and even break out of enclosures like a true Houdini. One of the most famous cases? Inky, an octopus in a New Zealand aquarium, squeezed through a tiny gap in his tank, slid across the floor, and escaped through a drainpipe that led straight to the ocean. Imagine being the night guard checking security footage and seeing that unfold. Dogs are smart, but border collies? Next level. These dogs are not just great herders, they have the largest vocabulary of any breed. One border collie, named Chaser, knew the names of over 1,000 different toys. Not only could she fetch the right one when asked, but she could also group them by category. Border collies can also anticipate human actions before they happen. Ever tried faking a throw with a ball? Most dogs fall for it. A border collie won't. It'll just stare at you like, nice try, human. Bird-brained? More like bird genius. African gray parrots don't just mimic words, they actually understand them. One famous parrot, Alex, was trained to identify colors, shapes, and even count. When asked, "What color is this key?" Alex didn't just repeat random words, he'd say, "green." He even understood concepts like size. If researchers held up 2 objects and asked, "Which one is bigger?" Alex would give the correct answer. Now imagine if all parrots were like this. We'd have flying, talking fact-checkers everywhere. Dolphins are basically the scientists of the sea. They communicate with a complex language of clicks and whistles, recognize themselves in mirrors and even help humans. Here's a fun fact: dolphins give each other names. Scientists discovered that every dolphin has a unique whistle, kind of like a personalized ringtone that identifies them to others. Ever feel like a crow is watching you? Well, it probably is, and it might even remember your face forever. Crows are one of the smartest birds on Earth, and their intelligence is on par with a 7-year-old child. They use tools, solve multi-step puzzles, and can think ahead, something that only the most advanced creatures can do. Scientists have tested crows with some of the hardest problem-solving tasks ever created. In one experiment, a crow had to complete an 8-step puzzle just to get food. The crow figured it out faster than most human toddlers would. Here's where it gets creepy: if you're mean to a crow, it will remember you. Not just for a day, but for its entire life. Even worse? It will tell its crow friends. There was an experiment where scientists wore scary masks while annoying crows. Years later, when they put on those masks again, the crows instantly recognized them and started dive-bombing them. So yeah, if you ever see a crow staring at you, maybe just nod politely and walk away. You've probably heard the saying, "An elephant never forgets." But did you know that's actually scientifically true? Elephants have one of the largest brains in the animal kingdom, and their memory is so powerful that they can remember places, people, and other elephants for decades. There was a case where an elephant in a sanctuary suddenly became excited and started trumpeting. The reason? A former caretaker, who had worked there 20 years earlier, had just walked in. The elephant instantly recognized them and ran over in excitement. Elephants don't just have memories, they have deep emotions. They mourn their dead, cry when sad, and even comfort each other. In the wild, if an elephant dies, the herd often gathers around, gently touching the bones with their trunks. Some have even been seen returning to the same spot years later, as if they're visiting a grave. So yeah, elephants aren't just smart. They're probably more emotionally intelligent than half of Twitter. Chimpanzees are basically one step away from entering the Stone Age. Unlike most animals, chimps don't just use tools, they make them. Scientists have even found chimps who pass down knowledge, meaning they have something like chimp culture. Different groups use different types of tools, depending on where they live. Here's where things get really crazy. Scientists tested a chimp named Ayumu against human college students in a memory challenge. The test was simple. A screen flashed random numbers for half a second, then they disappeared, and the participant had to remember their order. The result? Ayumu destroyed the humans. His memory was so fast and precise that even the best human players couldn't beat him. So yeah, if chimps ever learn to use computers, we might all be out of a job. Orangutans are so smart, they've been caught picking locks. Meet Fu Manchu, an orangutan who lived in a zoo. Every night, zookeepers would lock his enclosure, but somehow, by morning, he'd be roaming around the zoo, chilling with the other animals. The zookeepers were stunned. How was he escaping? After setting up a hidden camera, they discovered that Fu Manchu had secretly stolen a tiny metal wire. Every night, when no one was looking, he'd use it to pick the lock, escape, have his fun, and then return to his enclosure before sunrise, so nobody would suspect a thing. This orangutan outsmarted his own zookeepers and pulled off multiple prison breaks. In the wild, orangutans use giant leaves as umbrellas when it rains. They even bend tree branches into tools to grab fruit that's out of reach. If they had YouTube, they'd probably be watching DIY videos all day long. And finally, at number 1, it's us. Humans have built cities, explored space, and created the internet. But let's be honest, we're not always the brightest species. So sure, humans are the smartest species, but we still make some pretty dumb mistakes. That being said, our intelligence has allowed us to understand the universe, invent technology, and even train the animals on this list. Now the real question is, if dolphins, crows, chimps, and orangutans keep getting smarter, how long before they start making a top 10 list about us? Which animal impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more mind-blowing content. Thanks for watching.